Yeah, we're here with Fixing the Fourth Wall.
Welcome to the very first episode, finally, of Fixing the Fourth Wall, where we pick the topics we find most interesting in pop culture, politics, religion, whatever you're thinking about, we may be thinking about it too. I'm your host, Jesse Fetter.
And I'm your host, Alan Lilly. And today's topic is none other than Dragon Ball Z.
We're going to be talking about how DBZ has had a great influence on not only Generation X as well as Generation Y and current today millennials, but how it's really transcended Japanese culture to become a worldwide phenomenon.
It's one of those things where it started off in a little known show called Dragon Ball, which made its way to North America, but not nearly as big of an impact as its successor Dragon Ball Z. But you have to understand that Dragon Ball and its successor Dragon Ball Z, let's not really talk about GT, and then eventually Super, the original show wasn't supposed to be that successful. It's like kind of like Family Guy or Futurama or other shows that weren't supposed to take off, and then it became like, holy shit, this thing's like an infection. Another good example is Power Rangers. I mean, that's another show that like no one really thought was going to blow up, and it's still a worldwide phenomenon.
I mean, when Sensei Akira Toriyama first was creating, Dragon Ball, he was just thinking of a great adventure story in which kids could relate to. But then this manga, once he started publishing it, it started to take off. And then there was calls for an anime. Then after the manga finished, he had to give the adult preview of the life of his main characters, Goku, Bulma, Krillin, Master Roshi, and the rest of the gang. And it just spawned into what we know as DBZ. And it was so influential to the point that it's not just influenced other various, famous mangas such as Naruto or One Piece, the creators, but it's also, it's music such as in hip hop today. You see it in rock and roll, gym culture,
Electronic music, Bruce Faulkner and his ability to compose songs. There's no limit to how many samples I've heard in electronic music from Dragon Ball Z. I remember being at a music festival and hearing a certain intro to a song, and it took me a second. I was like, "Wait, is that Vegeta's Super Saiyan theme?"
Let me ask you, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear?
I'm pretty damn sure it is.
I mean, guys, you had, as I was saying, with One Piece and Naruto, you had Naruto's creator, Masashi Kishimoto. It influenced him to a point. Look at the similarities between the main protagonists. Naruto is an idiot, like Goku. Has the ability to bring people together, and no matter what, never gave up. And also happens to like to eat.
Ramen. Lots
of ramen.
Also, there's that bond that you see in Naruto and Goku. It's one of the principal characteristics that we all kind of learn as we grow up. The love of friendship, man. How important Naruto's friends and Goku's friends are to his life are similar to us. I mean, friends are indeed the family that we choose.
Oh yeah. And also you see it in Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Ichiro Oda, their creator, he talked about how Dragon Ball was the main manga that really influenced him and got him into, drawing and writing. Also with Monkey, as I was saying, an idiot that loves to stuff his face, and like Goku, that never give up, relentless willpower. I mean, this is a show, guys, when we grew up, I was born in 91, so Generation Y, I kind of like to separate myself from the millennial tag that now I have to join in on. My boy, just a couple years older than me, the tail end of, Generation Y as well, yeah. But also with Generation X, when it first came to the States, guys, this was a show that it first transcended Japanese culture to the point where you were seeing Goku in various ads. He was co-host on various shows for special episodes. But when it first came here to the States, and it really got popular with Toonami, first on WB, and then Toonami picked it up, that flagship program, DBZ, opened the way for many other anime.
One of the biggest ones that we can discuss now, I think, is impact of Sailor Moon. I mean, they're not that related in the sense that they're similar shows, but as far as bringing along and popularizing Japanese anime, Sailor Moon is huge. Not my favorite show, but as far as a female-dominated show where the girl saves the world, that show opened the door.
Yeah, another show that it brought over, Yu Yu Hakusho. Sick
Fantastic.
one. Love that. I mean, once people got the taste.
Another dark-haired idiot with exceptional talent and love of his friends.
Yeah, like once people got the taste of DBZ, they wanted more. They wanted to see more anime. And it's not just, as I said, with Naruto and One Piece. In Korean manhwa and Korean webtoon comics and Chinese manhwa, there's always some type of ode or some type of reference in the pages. You'll see in the background, one of the characters will have like the Saiyan armor, Vegeta's Saiyan armor, or Vegeta's hair, or some of them I've seen even where they draw in the very back. You can't see the face, but it's Piccolo. I'll see these, and trust me guys, I've read hundreds of manga, Korean webtoon comics, manhwa, Chinese manhwa. I see these references constantly.
I see it so often in just my daily life now that I'm a pretty frequent gym goer, where, in my day and age when I was growing up, Dragon Ball was looked as a pretty nerdy show to be into, but now I go to the gym, I'll see people with DBZ shirts, and not even that, there's levels to this shit now. There are people with like dry fit shirts, like Under Armour, where it's really well designed. I also do jiu-jitsu, and there's like Dragon Ball Z tights. Everyone's kind of just joined into the phenomenon because it made fighting cool. But not only did it make fighting cool, it completely revolutionized fight choreography and animation.
Oh yeah, for sure. To the point where you see some references of DBZ in various like martial arts films today. Not that Bruce Lee didn't have, obviously, an influence on martial arts films, but since DBZ was so over the top in a lot of its fight scenes, which everybody loved, you see a lot in martial arts films. It's not just, fancy kicks and whatnot. It's flips, it's all handstands, it's
Elbows.
all different types, and they're incorporating more and more martial arts. Because, as much as we want to, think that DBZ just solely focused on karate, there was some other stuff too that if you look closely at DBZ, it wasn't just traditional karate kicks and punches.
There's some Muay Thai in there. There was even some Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I saw some standing rear naked chokes here and there.
Judo, you see throws a couple times. It was so diverse, and like I said earlier, it transcended the Japanese culture to become a worldwide phenomenon. As I mentioned in the very beginning, in hip-hop, various hip-hop artists and rappers, hip-hop musicians such as Lupe Fiasco, you hear Soulja Boy, Danny Brown, Rich Homie Quan, Lil Uzi, and one of my personal favorites, XV. In their songs, they've really give props to like DBZ because the anime, not just the anime, the manga, mainly the anime, because all these rappers are talking about, they grew up watching it. They talk about how it really gave them hope. The symbolism, the underlying themes of what Alan was talking about before with harmony, that never give up attitude, that no matter your limits, it teaches you to
continue to push forward. So many of the things that make Dragon Ball Z iconic is one of the preeminent results of pushing forward is in Dragon Ball Z. There's a transformation, Super Saiyan transformation, which comes from just never giving up and pushing past your limits.
If you think about it, it's so big and it's become such a worldwide phenomenon today the generations that didn't grow up with DBZ, that are now just getting into DBS, which we will be talking about in future episodes, by the way. Maybe compare, DBS to DBZ, but for another episode. But the generation now that was born at the beginning of, the millennium, or in the middle of last decade, that's growing up with DBS, they know the memes like, it's over 9,000, with Vegeta breaking his scouter. Or they know all the moves, the Kamehameha, the Gallic Gun.
Final Flash.
Of course. You see, in the clothing, as Alan was talking about, I'll see, like, in gym wear, training insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you'll see where they'll have Under Armour or a dry fit clothing, where you'll see, like, the Saiyan armor, Piccolo's gear, Goku's gi,
Tattered.
Yeah.
Tattered Goku's gi. Tattered Vegeta's armor. I mean, people have really pushed their artistic game.
Majin Buu, Frieza, Broly's, like, his necklace there with his open body and whatnot. Super Saiyan 4 from GT. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. GT wasn't, obviously, it was kind of subpar. It was a drop-off.
Yes, significant.
But even GT culture, as I was saying, I mentioned, you see on these dry fits Super Saiyan 4, it's there. It's there. And you'll see it. A fighting anime and in mixed martial arts, various fighters are very big fans, to the point where they bring the culture into the sport. One of, obviously, the most popular being Ronda Rousey, needs no introduction.
Hi, Ronda.
Former bantamweight champion, 135er, at WWE. I think it was at SmackDown. She wore the shirt. It's over 9,000. She's not only a big DBZ fan, but also a Pokemon fan. Former UFC fighter, Marcus Brimage, who fought in the bantamweight division. Again, another 135er. At the weigh-ins, he used to always put Vegeta's pink, reddish scouter on his left ear and pretend as if he was reading his opponent's, power levels. John Tuck's name, his nickname for fights, John Super Saiyan Tuck. You'll have also great fighters that were actually fighting in Japan in Pride Fight Championships. The biggest heavyweight, Mark Hunt.
I mean, he got his name Super Samoan because of his, when he was watching DBZ, he even changed the tint of his hair to blondish color. I mean, the hair itself, the spiky blonde hair with green eyes, is so synonymous with DBZ culture. Even there's a new UFC fighter. He's part of generation, the millennial generation, Super Sage Northcutt. And if you see some of his fights, he does kind of display that crazy karate mixed style of just power and blitz that almost seems like he's fighting in anime. And fighting has evolved. This is for another topic. It's evolved to like cartoonish proportions now, where I've seen people pull moves that make no sense.
That's telling you how far this anime has come to influence the culture, pop culture, movie culture, music, to the point that people don't even know about it, but it spreads so much. The reputation is so positive. It spreads around where people will know about something that they've never even seen happen before, the transformation.
The thing I find it most comparable to is, I've traveled to quite a few different countries, and there are certain things that children I've met, I've always been able to relate to, because I make it a habit to at least go to one comic book store if I can in those countries. And there are things that are really just predominant and iconic symbols. The Batman symbol, Spider-Man, Superman. And now a show and a comic that came out in the 1980s is synonymous with that. There are so many kids who know about Goku and Dragon Ball Z. Granted, these kids are a little spoiled because of the internet. Now they can just YouTube a bunch of episodes and binge watch Dragon Ball Z within 2 weeks, like one of my students did.
We had to download Dragon Ball Z through LimeWire.
Or
that was fun.
Or back in '96, before internet became popular, we just had to actually just wake up on Saturday morning and watch it.
Or wait after school for Toonami. The first episode I ever saw of DBZ growing up was in the Vegeta saga, the fight between Goku and Vegeta. Obviously, Vegeta was writing him off. He thought like a low-level Saiyan
Clown.
who could never match up to a prince, an elite royalty, the prince of all Saiyans. And he ended up getting a little surprised when Goku went, KO-Ken.
Kaioken, attack!
That was the first episode I ever saw. And that was back in like 2000 on Toonami.
I remember it was 96, 97, around there. That's when it became like on the American like WB, when that was a thing. And my sister woke me up, so I have to thank my sister for finding the show. And it was the first like fight between Goku, Piccolo, and Raditz. Pretty much the beginning to Dragon Ball Z. And all I saw was like people getting kicked around, flying through a mountain, and I was hooked.
It's just, it came at a perfect time. After I saw that first episode, I wanted to see more. And then after seeing the entirety of, the Saiyan saga, to eventually into Namek, and then the Frieza saga, and then Cell, I started gathering toys. I started buying clothing. I started getting videos. I started getting video games. I was addicted. And honestly, that first episode, it put me on to the rest of the series, but it came at a time in my life, when my father had passed away. It was, my father passed away in February of 1999. And, I was only 7 at the time. And when I first saw an episode like this in like late 99, early thousands, I can honestly say it inspired me. It motivated me. It motivated me to be diligent in working hard. It motivated me to always look forward, to never, set a limitation for myself. Because I see these guys, DBZ was constantly villain, have to overcome villain, stronger villain, have to overcome stronger villain. It inspired me to the point where I wanted to be like them and break through my own limitations.
And I think one of the things that Dragon Ball Z reflects on and does constantly is you have a central figure, Goku. But there are other characters like Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks, Goten to a lesser extent, but he's coming up through the ranks. And Piccolo, cannot forget about Piccolo, that we love these fictional characters, and fictional characters leave an impact on us. The way that Dragon Ball Z, maybe Superman for the older generation, and for the younger generation, Harry Potter, all of these characters, just because they aren't real, doesn't mean they don't impart magic on us.
I mean, the show has been so successful that they've remastered it. Then they made a version of it, Dragon Ball Kai, which was a lot more faithful to the manga. It cut out the fillers. We're going to have an episode where we talk about the pros and cons of both Kai versus like the DBZ remastered. Just to give you like a snippet, one of my personal beefs with Kai is Gohan's voice, Team Gohan's voice. That drove me nuts. But that's for another day.
Speaking of voices, there are very few times in anime history that the American voices are better than the Japanese voices. The two that come off the top of my head right now are Dragon Ball Z and Full Metal Alchemist. Those are about the two that I can think of where I am glad I watched the English dub instead of the Japanese dub.
I mean, the difference between DBZ and the rest of the other dubbed anime, even Naruto and One Piece, they all have the same recycled voice actors. DBZ had, Jean Schmel, Chris Sabat, and a whole cast of people who, they have worked on other projects, but their voice work on DBZ stands out. I hear all these dubs and it drives me insane. I watch, it forced me, which I'm actually happy it did force me. It forced me at 14 to start watching, anime and subtitles. So glad I did. Started to learn some Japanese on the way.
Me as well. I mean, there are shows, except for the exclusion of Cowboy Bebop, which is another great anime that we'll get into a topic for later.
Oh, for sure.
And Trigun and a few other ones that came on Toonami and Adult Swim. I've only watched Naruto in Japanese, and I've only watched One Piece in Japanese. It's just not something that I'm truly inspired to listen to the English dub. Just because sometimes the Japanese dub does great.
I mean, we're still talking about it now from when we were kids. And we're noticing, we're observing around us that it hasn't faded. It's only growing. Think about it, guys. Since the series finished, and we're going off of GT, Kira Toriyama took 18 years for July 2015 when he came out with DBS, Dragon Ball Super.
To be fair, the way things look now, as far as how many views that DBS is getting and how popularized it could be, Akira Toriyama could have taken his sweet time. I mean, the dude has already made fuck you money. Like he has no need to service us with more shows. But out of the kindness of his heart, or maybe personal boredom, I'd love to ask him one day. He granted us a new show, and I think it's equally as successful as Dragon Ball Z. It's right there. I mean, Dragon Ball Z built the fan base, but people are still going nuts.
I mean, guys, yeah, I know he had movies in between here and there to kind of like, appease us, and then Battle of the Gods, and then Resurrection of F, and then this series, Dragon Ball Super. But like, it just goes to show that 18 years, our generation, and even the tail end of Generation X, we're still craving, heavily desiring more Dragon Ball culture. It transcends not just, Japanese culture, but also generation gaps there, generations. It's spanned across 3 generations already. X, I like to try to separate Y from millennials. But, if you go by mine, it's 3 generations, X, Y, and then millennials. But most people today put millennials and Y together. So I guess 2 generations if you want to be politically correct.
It's one of those things that it's so iconic. I mean, you have the characters, the voices are iconic, the voice actors did such a great job personifying their characters. Goku does have a voice, and it does seem adult but childlike enough where you can see how much of an idiot he is. I mean, there are points where he's even surprised of his own intellect. Wait, I got that right? Huh, cool. And it's kind of frustrating because we've all met those people in our lives that are so talented, yet somehow so stupid that you feel like their talent is wasted on them. Like, you of all people do not deserve this amount of talent.
I mean, the underlying themes that Dragon Ball Z taught not just me, but various individuals, still resonates with a lot of us today. The work ethic, as I was talking about before, that's that type of work ethic that I learned from watching these guys train on the show. I apply today in my job life, my athletic life, my academic life when I was back in school, when I was back in college and law school. I mean, there's unwavering, amounts of just, encouragement that I got from this program.
I still watch a few fights from Dragon Ball Z before I go to jiu-jitsu class. It just lifts me up and pumps me up. It's like its own fucking pre-workout.
I mean, when I run, I try to run. I know I don't look like it. I got to drop some weight, guys. But when I run some miles, when I go out for a good little jog or whatnot, I have the Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 opening themes that I listen to. And I just got the whole long track. I didn't just get the shortened track that's only like a minute and a half. once you start the games. I got like the actual track, that opening, the real song. It's like over 3 minutes long for both of them. And that shit pumps me up. It just gets me going. Like, these are the little things that we're talking about that so many people of our generation still appreciate today and still want to continue seeing. And we do continue to see it develop where more people, it's still growing all these years later. I mean, Dragon Ball started in the 80s. He started in like early to mid 80s. And it's still going.
I mean, how many shows and this is a rare occasion. I mean, think about it where, technically, if we would say Dragon Ball Z is a spin-off of Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z is infinitely more popular than its predecessor.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, while DBZ focused more on, growth through getting, strength, and then, former villains becoming anti-heroes to eventually sidekicks like Vegeta.
Which had probably, in anime history, one of the greatest transformations as far as characters. Goku has always kind of been the same. Vegeta has gone through the periods of most transition throughout the show.
Yeah. But, besides that, to be totally honest with you, DBZ really didn't have too many layers to it.
Nope.
But that's what people appreciated. That's why they appreciated it. That's what they appreciated about it. It was tremendous gratification through simplicity. Dragon Ball was vastly different, focused on various adventures to find the Dragon Balls, eventually to make a wish, and through that, Goku found, various, training partners, Master Roshi,
Krillin,
and Korin as well. He found friends. But like everybody knows DBZ today, and from DBZ, people got to know about Dragon Ball, and now are seeing Dragon Ball Super. It's just, we can't say enough about it.
It's one of those things where if it didn't exist, there would be a black hole as far as anime culture is. I'm not sure that there are plenty of animes that I do enjoy more than Dragon Ball Z, but I can only maybe count on my hand, less than that shows that are that iconic.
It's just, I probably don't even know what to say anymore. There was one thing I did want to say, but I'll probably get back to you on that. What else do you got to say?
It allowed so many other animes to become popular, but it's one of those shows that we are pretty much blessed to have. I mean, I can't think of, if I look at top animation fights, that Dragon Ball Z doesn't crack the top 10 at least once for one fight in Dragon Ball. Granted, there are so many fights. Goku vs. Frieza, Goku vs. Vegeta, Majin Vegeta. There are a plethora of fights that we can pick from. But in general, one or two fights in Dragon Ball Z belong on the top fights list.
I mean, you said the word blessed, or, we could use fortunate. Akira Toriyama is not a national treasure. That man is like an international, if not a universal treasure. That man needs to be preserved, and Dragon Balls need to be created to wish him back for all eternity to keep us, perpetually entertained.
Him and Stan Lee, I'm pretty much going to put in a cryo chamber and keep them alive.
Of course. But, just to motion back, I did previously mention about how, because DBZ was a flagship program for Toonami that brought over other Japanese anime, on Toonami. It also did it on Adult Swim, which I forgot to mention earlier. You had these blocks where in 2009 and 2010, eventually the first dubs of Naruto and One Piece came over. And as we all know, Dragon Ball had the greatest influence on Ichiro Oda. And now One Piece is the greatest selling manga of all time with over 250 million volumes sold around the world. So, Dragon Ball, we can go on and on about this, but at the end of the day, I think Japanese animation in general owes a tremendous thank you and service to Akira Toriyama, because if it wasn't for the success of his manga, who knows what anime you wouldn't have today, or you would. I mean, as I mentioned, One Piece and Naruto were directly influenced by DBZ. If that never blew up,
I mean, even now with the rise of One Punch Man, who
oh, I love that one.
he's an incredibly amazing character, but you see little in his personality, little remnants of Goku, and like being overpowered and just enjoying the love of the fight. But it just goes to show you, in literature, music, sports, we all stand upon the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, man. Well said. Goddamn Socrates over here.
I'd say Plato, thank you.
Maybe Aristotle. We'll figure it out. But anyway, guys, that's it. Conclusion of our very first episode of Fixing the Fourth Wall. Once again, I'm your host, Jesse Fetter,
And I'm Alan Lane.
and we are instant transmitting out.
Hi, my name is Alan. I have a 12-foot cock. Act like a black guy.